Hey everybody, how you doing today? Today, I want to do a little video on a complete quarter panel repair. There's just one thing that I kind of forgot on this. Excuse me. There's the lead up here where the factory leaded this in. I forgot to go get a torch, and I was just going to torch that out and melt that lead. So when I tuck that new quarter panel under there, I can see how it fits, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I could probably like just cut this across there and stitch weld the new one in there, but I think this will get me pretty close. I mean, once I get the rest of this out, I can start fitting the new quarter panel. Now I got some of this out already. I just left a couple little spots like around this rear window in this upper part of this cell panel to show you what exists there. And this is a part of the door jamb that I already got out. Now you can see that I got a spot weld cutter, and you go down through here and you mark all these spot welds from the factory all the way down through here, and then after you cut all them spot welds out, you can go back and just chisel the whole panel out, and it'll come out as a whole. And that's kind of what I'm going to start showing you how to do in here. Now this, I already got these kind of spot weld, these spot welds kind of cut. This one up here top, in the top, I might have to hit a little bit more, but you can kind of see when it cuts all the way through. And then from this seam right here that they got leaded in from the factory, and you can see on the back right here where this quarter panel laps in over this roof skin. So, and you'll have I don't know, probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, probably about 15 spot welds. They put them about 1.5 inches, 2 inches apart from the factory. As you can see right here, the ones that I cut out, they're kind of random. They're not symmetrical. They're not identically 1 inch, 1.5 inches apart. I think the factory just, it's assembly line. They just go in there and they just freaking tack weld them. And on the back, it comes down and comes across this little trunk rail. I know you can't see it. I got to get the rest of this little corner back out here. And that's being a booger because all of it from the back side here has got a bunch of seam sealer and stuff in it and junk. So I can't, and even it's a hard angle to get into and cut them spot welds. So I'm trying to chisel all that out. And once I get this piece out, then I can go in there and clean it up and grind it and get all the excess out or whatnot. So, but I just wanted to do a video real quick of what you have to do if you're replacing a whole quarter panel. Don't get intimidated by it because it's not that much to it. If you think it through and you look and you figure out how the factory spot welded these full quarter panels in from the factory and just kind of reverse that. Like I said, go down through here, hit all these spot welds all the way up, and there's a seam where this is leaded in, and then across this rear window, and I mean just follow it all the way around. There's spot welds under the wheel well, and just take your time and figure out. You can see the spot welds obviously, like usually when if you sandblasted it, or if you take if there's paint on it, you can take a like 1.5 inch or a 3 inch Scott Bright wheel and put it on your grinder and hit these seams, and then spot welds will just stand out like a sore thumb. You can see them. And here's the spot weld cutter. You can get these at any auto body shop. Eastwood, this is where I got this one, Eastwood. Other spots, this is 3/8 inch. Now, what's tricky about these is this pilot bit is spring loaded. So you have to get used to using these because you obviously don't want this pilot bit to drill all the way through all your panels. That's why it's spring loaded. But what it does do is it will cut into the sheet metal just enough, sometimes just enough to keep it where it needs to be until your spot weld starts to cut. And it doesn't do that all the time. Sometimes, like you'll see when I start using this thing, cutting these spot welds, sometimes I get impatient, and instead of letting that make a little pilot divot, not all the way through, but just like a divot, I'll start drilling out that spot weld. Sometimes this thing take off on me. I mean, you'll see when I start doing it. So it took me a while to get to this quarter panel. I mean, I've just had a lot on my plate. Again, I just do this stuff on the weekend. Spring sprung. I got stuff to do around the house. I got stuff to do to my truck. I got stuff to do to my wife's car. I got stuff to do to this, to the RS, the 92 RS. So I'm going to spend a few hours. This may be a long video. I'm going to spend a few hours going through this, showing you guys how to do it. I'm going to finish cutting these spot welds out, get the rest of the cell panel off. What I really am going to do, though, is when I go get a torch, I'm going to melt this lead out of here. And I'm going to tuck that quarter panel up under that roof skin, like from the factory. But for now, I'll probably just cut it since I forgot the torch. And just so I can start fitting it, because I want to show you guys how to fit this. Fit these quarter panels. And before you start welding it in, because even though that's an aftermarket quarter panel, I think it came from Goodmark, you're going to have to tweak it. You're going to have to tweak some of these edges. You're going to have to, and you're going to have to put it on and off 150 times, and just keep dolly and hammering, dolly and hammering. Now, keep in mind when you're dolly and hammering, just because it's metal, it's sheet metal, and it moves pretty easy. So when you start dollying and hammering, you don't need to weld on it. You can just tap on it. You can move that metal where you need to go, where it needs to go, and get this thing to fit snugged up real good. But I haven't test fitted it yet. It may be pretty close from wherever it got stamped at. So we'll see. But I hear my cat outside. Not my cat, it's my daughter's cat. I can't stand cats outside the door meowing, pestering the hell out of me. But anyway, I'm going to start getting these spot welds out. It's a little high, so I'm going to get on a ladder, cut this off, see if we can get the rest of this cell panel off, the rest of this piece off right here around the window. And then we can start test fitting. I'll go in with a grinder and hit some of these spot welds and clean all the edge up all the way around it. I'll have to get this back piece off too before I start test fitting it. But what I'll do is I'll take this off, kind of show you guys what needs to be done and how to do it. And I'll pause the video maybe, because I have a feeling it's going to take me a while to get that off that back, because I'm really just going to have to keep cutting and nibbling at it till I get it off. I've tore some of the sheet metal, structural sheet metal, but that's not big of a deal. You can take your dolly and hammer and pound it back down in there and weld it back up like it should be. But we'll see how that goes. We'll start with this. Safety first. So I'm going to get my ball cap off. I always wear one of these every time I'm drilling, grinding, sanding. I got something in my eye. Oh, it was a long time ago. I got something in my eye. Out here messing around, not wearing safety goggles. Had to go to the eye doctor. And I'd rather take an ass kicking to go to the eye doctor. I hate eye doctors, I hate dentists. So anyway, let's get some power to the drill. Start cutting out the rest of these spot welds. I think I'm going to need to cut a little bit more on this top one. Get my ladder. Better leverage. Just a little stool. And another thing that I found out that's easy on these is instead of holding your drill wide open and drilling it like a drill, it seems like these spot weld bits cut better at a low RPM. That's why when you hear me doing it, I'm just kind of just slowly just cutting at it. All right, let me get this other one a little bit more too. All right. That's what I was talking about. It'll take off on you. Sometimes it's a pain in the ass, but need my other glasses on. Let me try something real quick. And I used to do it this way. You can take a regular drill bit and cut that weld out just as good, to be honest. And that's what I'm gonna try, since this one, the way this window channel goes around, it's not flat, and most of it ain't flat, but you'll find some spots that's flat that's easy to cut it out like this door jamb was. And sometimes I'll go in there with one of these, and you don't want to cut all the way through, just cut through the quarter panel. Once you start getting into the structural steel, just back off of it. So let's see what happens. Let's see here. Looks like this bit might be a little bit big, but I'd rather have a little bigger than small. Starting to get hard to see. It's kind of hard to see back here around this edge. So sometimes let's see here. There might be, and I'll miss one. Don't get me wrong, I'll miss one. Once I start chiseling this out, separating that quarter panel from the structural steel, you'll see where you miss one or two here and there. You just go back and drill it. I'm gonna pause you for a minute until my air compressor kicks on. It's out. Usually when I shut it off and I haven't ran it for a week or two, it'll drain out. So that way you ain't sitting here for 5 minutes listening to the air compressor build. And as soon as that air compressor builds, I'll come back, unpause you, and we'll chisel this out. All right. All right, I'm back. The air compressor's still running, but it's still building air, so I'm gonna go ahead and chisel this out. It might be a little loud, but it won't be long. But I'm gonna chisel anyway, so it's gonna be kind of loud anyway. But we'll chisel this off. Once I get these spot welds chiseled, I'll make a cut right through here. And we'll get the rest of this off, and we'll try to fit our new quarter panel on there to add. See, I missed one right there, so I got to drill it out. I can start to come apart pretty good. Now you're going to run into some spots that are layered, like you got 3 layers. You got 2 pieces of structural steel, like you'll have this inside cell panel, and then you'll have like this bottom, inside wheel well coming up or something else, plus your quarter panel laying on the outside of it. You can look down here on the seam. You'll see 3 different layers. Just take your time and just tuck up under the quarter panel. That's the only one you want to separate, and just separate it and just get that spot weld just to pop free from it, and you'll be all right. And there are some spots that will be tricky, like right here. I'm not going to move the camera because if I move this camera, I'm in my shop. I live way out in the country. As soon as I move that, the video will just shut off. I need to get a new recorder, digital recorder. I just do all this on my phone. But right here, where this quarter panel in this on this this lap, you can see right here this quarter panel would tucks up under the lip of this roof panel about 1 inch. So I could probably like go up here and drill out that spot weld. That is holding that little 1 inch together and separate it. But right now, I will probably just cut it because I'm going to cut this across here anyway. And then, like I said later, when I go get a torch, I'll weld all this lead out and actually get in there and get it, you know, separated properly. So, looks like, let me separate it a little bit more. You only got two right here together, like the inside of this cell panel and the outside of this quarter panel. So let's separate that a little bit more up to that where that roof panel laps over. Sometimes you just gotta be careful. You just gotta work it out because it's thin. It's thin material there. I think I missed a spot weld right there because you don't want to start chiseling into the shit and just ripping the hell out of it because you're just gonna make more work for yourself later. So you're better off just to take your time. You know, just like I am. I'm not going at this air hammer. I'm just tapping on it, just separating it, just separating the seam all the way up through here. And just do it a little bit of time and take your time, and it's going to save you time later. Because if you just go in here, try to chisel the hell out of this, you're going to tear up your inner structure, and you're just going to have a lot more work. Hey, babe. I had to pause you a minute for my wife came in and talked to me. All right, let's get back at this. This is tough to get to because the outside of this lip, this channel right here, is longer than the inside. So I kind of try to get back up in there and get in between them, but I can't see it. Get off of that. There we go. So it's separated all the way up to where that seam laps. Just kind of double check everything. See if there's something we may have missed. Got a little bit of a problem here, but see if I can get it from the inside here. Looking here. It might be a spot weld. Let's hit that. Weld. See, it's going to start popping off, and then you can go through here and see all the little spots you missed. And sometimes you have a weld that's going to be like this one. It just does not want to. Alright, let's see if we can get this jam here separated. Seems like I'm... Oh, I remember what it was. Got a couple of spot welds on the inside here. That's why it wasn't. I forgot about it. So let's get them cut. Looks like there's one here. Here. And it's really hard to tell from anymore. It's going to be kind of hard. I might have to like cut along this because it's going to be hard to get this way up in here. But we'll see. We'll see if we can finish these first. Let's see, there's 3 here. There's another one